Welcome, Chef Ryan Dadufalza, to Pass It On. Pass It On is our platform here at Winnow for chefs and hospitality leaders who are leading the fight in food waste to come and share their story. You're joining me all the way from Thailand, where you're currently working as executive chef for Conrad Bangkok. And we've met before, and I know you've been doing loads of interesting things to reduce food waste, and I can't wait to learn more. But yeah,
Okay.
I've got a few questions for you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, honestly.
No, pleasure to have you here today. And yeah, I'll dive straight in. So,
Oh,
can you take me along your culinary journey and what inspired you to become a chef?
okay. Um, I don't have that typical backstory of like making pancakes with the grandmother and
Yeah.
having all of this passion from such a young age to be a chef. It actually came much later in life. When I graduated from high school, I spent 4 years for some reason thinking I was gonna be an amazing hip hop DJ for some reason.
Really?
So I did nothing but DJ when I after I graduated, having a great time, but not a very focused time, right?
Yeah.
So one of my first jobs, just to outside of DJing, I did get a job in the kitchen, and it didn't even that first job didn't really spark that interest yet. I was working in a Japanese restaurant, and I had to do I had to work split shifts. So they told me this is gonna be amazing for you because you can come in the morning from 6 to 10, and then
Yeah.
in the afternoon you can go around and run some errands, and then come back for the
That
evening
makes
and work the 6 to 10 p.m. in the evening. And I was thinking, wow, that does sound amazing, right? Of course, it doesn't work out that way, you know. It was
Yeah.
a horrible time for me, and like I just remember smelling like fish, like my hands smelled like fish all the time and everything. So but long story short, it didn't really catch on at that time.
Yeah.
But I did end up uh coming under one of my first mentor chefs at that time, and to really cultivate the idea of becoming a chef. I have some OCD tendency. I think nowadays people are easy to throw around the OCD badge. Like everybody, if you have a
Yeah.
small attention to detail, people are saying, "Oh, I'm OCD." I truly am OCD with some things,
Really.
and I kind of felt like it played into my favor. It
Mhm.
played into my strong parts for me to develop that as one of a good quality that can carry me far into to becoming a chef. So I kind of dove in from there. I worked for a few years on Guam, and then I read a book. I read a book that was called "The Making of a Chef." I don't know if you've heard about this book, "The Making of a Chef." It's
Read it, no.
by Michael Ruhlman, and it's
Yeah.
about. Have you heard of the Culinary Institute of America?
Yes, I have, of course.
Yeah. So I went to the one in New York, and the only reason why I went to that is because I read the book, and I became such a nerd about this culinary school. I thought I have to go to the school. Just to give you some background, the author posed as a student, and went through a couple of semesters there and wrote a book about his experience. So when I read it, I was like, I was blown away by that book. I'm honest, I'll be honest and say it's not like I read volumes of books. I'm not a big book reader, but
Yeah.
that book really um, steered me in the direction to work at the to educate myself at the CIA, which I eventually went to, and then it's really been full steam ahead from there. It's been a great experience. When I graduated from school, my first job was in Tokyo in 2006, and I have been working in Asia since then. I think I worked in about 12 cities since then. So
Yeah.
it's been an amazing journey so far.
That sounds amazing. Like, I can't believe from hip hop DJ all the way to
Yeah,
executive chef and everything in between. Do you ever
yeah.
still do that, or is that something you've kind of put to the side now?
And I still listen to the music, but I
Yeah.
physically put it to the side now. But if
Yeah,
there was ever some party needs and there was records there, I can pick it up and
yeah, no,
maybe
that sounds amazing. And
keep
yeah,
some
I
interest for
completely
30
understand
minutes.
about the book. Like, I feel like cooking's you get engrossed so quickly.
Yeah,
Like, there are
yeah.
some books out there that it's just kind of like the details and the science behind it can really like
Oh,
engross
yes.
you. Like, there's so much to learn.
Yeah,
Um,
you're definitely right. I think it's when you say about the science and everything, I think everyone wants the cupcake recipe or the fried chicken recipe, right? But then not learning about the flour and the gluten or the
um,
gelatinization of flour, all of those things. I think it's to understand the framework. It really helps us as chefs, on the early part of the education.
yeah, I can learn for your whole life.
Definitely, definitely.
But yeah, no, that's super interesting actually. Thanks for that story. Um, Perfect. And then on to the next question.
Okay.
Uh, it's a bit of a fun one, but if you could have one final meal, what would it be?
Wow. Okay. Um, this would not. This is like a death, like a on the death row kind of last meals kind of thing, right? I
Hmm.
don't know. It's I don't think it would be anything extravagant, It wouldn't be reproducing like the most expensive meal I ever ate, or it wouldn't be reproducing something um like not just most expensive, but the most moving meal that I ever had as a chef. I think, and I'm gonna say maybe the most cliche thing, I think I would just like to have something simple that my mom like made when we were kids. I think you know what I mean, because those memories are formed at such an early age, and I
Yeah.
truly believe that it's the reason why your favorite song is from when you're a teenager, or your
Mhm.
favorite movie is from when you're a kid, because those are the most impressionable times of your existence, right? And then
Definitely.
having one of those, like, my dad is Filipino, my mom is from Guam, but my mom makes like the best adobo in the world. Like everybody's parents make their best adobo in the world. You know what I mean? So so for me, it would be something like that. I would just like to have that home cooked meal, something very simple. You know how it smells when you're just cooking rice, and then the
Yeah.
smell of the steaming rice in the rice cooker like makes you so hungry. Um, it's like it's too simple, and it's almost too primitive that there's nothing that can beat it, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree. I think mine would actually be adobo as well.
Oh my gosh.
Like, if I, if I have to come down to it. To be honest, my answer does change a bit, but I'd say most of the time I would say adobo, just because of, like you said, it's a childhood kind of classic food that my mum would always cook for me as well.
Yeah. But
Um,
there's the thing. Does your adobo have like a lot of sauce, or like very dry? There's also that
I
kind
probably
of
like the
thing.
saucy one. I don't
Okay,
know if
okay.
is that not
No,
how
I,
you
I
make
do
it?
too. My mom makes the saucy one, so
Yeah,
she
I
does
like
the
the
best.
saucy one.
But if there
Um,
was another facet of that question, because I thought about it another way. I thought, what if there was one like fantasy dish, fantasy meal that I could create or be a part of, and it would be to, if I can answer that question really simply, um, it would be to make a very simple set menu for like the three or four most important chefs in my career, just to show them
oh,
like
really?
how
This is a good
how far
answer.
that I've come, and like
Yeah.
maybe to in a way to thank them, like how much their inspiration has brought me this far.
Wow. And who did you come up with? Who would be your three?
One would be executive chef Clayton Babas. He is a Filipino Hawaiian chef
Yeah,
who was like my one of my true first mentors. The second one would be Chef Thomas Jacoby, where we were working together like 15 years ago in Koh Samui, and coincidentally, we're both working for Hilton now. We still keep in touch.
really.
Amazing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the third one would be Chef Kiyomi Mikuni from Japan, who was one of the other important persons in my life, as well as Hideki Uno, who's number two. I think those four people, it would be amazing to cook for them.
Amazing. And what would you cook? What would
Oh, I would make them adobo, and I'm kidding.
I know. No, there's a Michelin star Filipino restaurant in Chicago. Like
Okay.
I think it's the only one. And I'm really intrigued because I think they have like adobo on the menu. So I'd love
I,
to like know what they do to it to make it that like next level.
they make their own soy sauce. They ferment
Yeah,
their own vinegar. The chicken
probably.
is chicken is grain fed from the house next door. I think there's a lot of that homage to like the heritage recipes, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of places. I don't think they're taking advantage of this, and I think that level of cooking has existed so long. It's just that now the attention is being placed on some of those more traditional places, this ultra focused, ultra authentic taste and reproduction of these flavors. So it doesn't surprise me. I think there should be more. I think there should be more.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. But yeah, it's a lot of interesting things. And the next question is, was there a particular moment that made you rethink how food waste is managed?
Um, Yes, I mean we've always like since you work in restaurants, and I don't keep going back to the Filipino culture thing, but and I'm sure this exists in every culture, like especially coming from Guam, we didn't come from a wealthy
Mm,
background, like most people, right? We don't ever throw food away. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
everything is like repurposed. It's like we almost have a nose to tail approach, like in my house growing up, right? So when you start to work in hotels or work in restaurants, it's like a side effect of the operation. There needs to be some waste, right? So it's
yeah.
always that first, when you're clearing the buffet as a commie, then like you have to throw this away, and then you have to tip this whole food into the bin. It's like really, what I mean, we have to throw this away. And there's only like so much you can eat. You want to eat it up yourself, right? Somehow, but
I know.
so it's really just realizing, that it is an industry of excess, right? And you never really have the answers to it, because it's hard to just say let's just make less, or let's not do a buffet, right? For example, or whatever other option there would be, whatever alternative there would be. There's a reason why it's not done that way, right? But when you introduce measurable places where you can adjust and where you introduce the strategy where you can actually make a difference, I think is where something like Winnow really hits the nail, because
Yeah,
you're no longer telling somebody don't waste food. You're giving historical data to say don't waste food by ABC and everything else, right? So it's really understanding in a very specific way, like where your waste is coming from, and then also giving us the opportunity as chefs to make those calculated strategies. But truly, like it really answers the how and why to save food. And for me as a person, I love data and I
yeah.
love information. It just puts things into that
Mm,
realizable perspective. It's actionable perspective, right? So it's really that understanding from early on that there's a lot of waste, but then now gaining the tools and the information to really make the right decisions to reduce.
amazing. I think it's very rare for a chef to say, I love data.
Oh,
Most,
really?
I think so. Like, well, I don't know. I think a lot of chefs, maybe it's more old fashioned, but they don't really like data at all, not interested. Um, yeah, just the ones that I've experienced. But no, I love that you
Okay.
love, so you work with Winnow, you must love data now. Um, but yeah, do you think since working with us then it's been really eye-opening to what's been happening in your kitchen?
Yes, definitely. And I have used the system in the past in 2014, 2015 in another property. So
Yeah.
I knew what kind of changes could be realized in a quick amount of time.
Mhm.
And then to see that, I mean, it's like we were able to achieve so many savings in that previous property, a whole nother country. And then can you
Yeah.
imagine? You bring the same system and you bring it in a whole nother hotel in a completely different country, and to get the same results, you're still able
Yeah.
to see the savings. So it's like um, you reproduce the outcome in two different data points and
Mhm.
everything. So it's more confidence that it's a system that works. It truly works.
No, it is amazing. It's you can apply it anywhere, and that's the thing, like, once you have the data, you know exactly where to take action, and
Exactly.
your results have proven that. I was actually gonna ask a bit more about how you've achieved your results. I know you've done, over 50% reduction since working with
Yeah,
us.
correct. Correct.
Um, but yeah, could you tell me a bit more about what you've done to kind of reduce that?
Yeah, when I talk about what we've done, it sounds like um it sounds that there's such easy what's the word? It sounds very obvious that those are things that should be done all the time, but unfortunately it's not done consistently always, you know. But since getting the data and understanding where we can trim, it's mostly like what are your top 10 items which contribute the most waste in terms of weight and volume, and then how can you protect those items, you know? And if there's a hygiene rule in place that you can't repurpose that item because it's a high risk or because it's presented outside, then we really go with multiple serving vessels for things like this. So if it's
Yeah.
we like for example, we always have like a vegetable curries because you know we have a certain size of curry pot on the buffet. And
Yeah.
if you it looks beautiful with 2 kilo inside, but it's impossible to put 500 gram inside of it, you know, because it looks like
Listen.
so having so having a smaller curry pot, for example, when it's not busy, um,
Mm,
it's a tremendous way to, it's a tremendous way to save so much. And
yeah.
we've implemented little processes implemented in that we first of all we follow the forecast, so we produce not every single thing A to Z. Again, we focus on the top 10 items which contribute the most, and we forecast those very well. So I know exactly how many kilo of bacon we need when we're 80% occupancy. And if we're
Yeah.
50% occupancy, I already know like how many kilo we need as well. Um, so following the forecast, we use a warmer to hold items when we're super busy. Like when
Yeah.
we're 80, 90%, you can't, it's impossible to cook everything like a la minute, right?
Yeah.
And we somehow we use a warmer to help us in the operation to stage. But we also have an internal policy: when we're below 60%, we don't use a warmer. We
Really.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when we hit a certain occupancy threshold, it's like no warmer day. Um, the other thing we do, as we mentioned with the curry pot, is we have a normal setup when we open, and then our breakfast it closes at 10:30 or 11 o'clock on weekends. We have an alternate serving dish for certain items on the buffet. So for
Yeah.
our quinoa salad, which may not be consumed so much, we have a little bowl that we send out when we refill, and little things like that, which help to just leave the right amount of food on the buffet, looking beautiful, but without excess.
Hmm. I know what you mean. Like, it kind of sounds like these are kind of simple things, but
Yes.
like you said, I think if unless you've seen the data of how much you're kind of wasting, you don't really know what to do or like how to take action.
Correct.
Um,
And
but
it could be
yeah.
very overwhelming for some chefs, especially when you don't have your whole team on board. Like, oh, what is the chef yelling about now about the bake and all? You know what I mean? So you need to get them
Yeah.
on. You need to get them on board, right? Oh, why we got to change the container? Like it's such a chef's having
Yeah.
one of his days again, right? So it's not easy when you don't have the team on board. But like
Mhm.
if I can give advice to chefs, you know, we focus on 10. Maybe at the beginning, just focus on your top three, and then do your top five.
Yeah.
Manage your top three most wasted item by expense and top three most wasted item by volume, and then from
Mhm.
three go to five and five to 10.
Yeah.
And we found that 10 is enough to really have a lot of control on your
The
big
top.
movers, right? So
Yeah.
once you start going above past 10, it's you start to go into low consumption items or low items which are not so expensive either, right? So
Yeah.
focusing on 10 seems to be the sweet spot for us at this moment.
Amazing. Great advice. I also know you've been doing some interesting things with trimmings. Um,
Yes.
can you tell me a bit
Yes.
about those or
Yeah, no, we picked up some cues because we saw some of this no waste videos from Chef Voigt. Yeah,
Wojtek? Yeah.
yeah. So Wojtek, and then we he was actually showing some of the recipes, and it was just I think for him it was just one of the common examples that he used for
Yeah.
repurposing watermelon skin.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think it's a genius ingredient to focus on because 99% of all hotels have you use watermelon. Doesn't matter if you're in the Caribbean or in Indonesia, you're using watermelon, right? And
Yeah.
watermelon skin is so heavy. You know what I mean?
It's so
It's so
thick.
heavy. Yeah, so it's such a huge weight component when it comes to our waste. So I'm always skeptical. I'm like, there's no way that this thing tastes good. There's no way. It's impossible. So
Yeah.
we I think there was one recipe which he had, which was like a pakora. It was like a fritter made with
Mm,
watermelon. So we tried it,
yeah.
and then it was amazingly good in that you it's as it's very flavorful, and you would never know that it's watermelon skin. It
Yeah.
was amazing. So we kind of went a step further, and it's not like we invented the wheel, but we kind of took a cue from chef, and we did the same recipe as we do with green papaya salad, but we use watermelon skin. And
Yeah.
we did the taste test with this with some of the Thai team members here, and they could not tell that it was not watermelon skin. I mean, some of them said, I'm glorifying it and saying there was, they
Yeah.
didn't think that it was papaya. They didn't think it was watermelon skin, but they said, yeah, it's kind of like papaya.
Yeah.
And when I told them it was watermelon skin, they're like, just everyone's just jaw dropped, and everyone was just completely shocked. It's like, no way. So it's one of our most interesting and successful things for food waste that we have on the buffet. We've since introduced three items. So one is the watermelon papaya salad, watermelon skin salad. We
Yeah.
also made a chicken curry in the morning, and instead of winter melon, we used the watermelon peel.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last one was we also do make a fritter in the morning, and we
Amazing.
just have it on rotation, right? So it's just there helping us to reduce our food waste. It's amazing.
So you really use it everywhere throughout your day and buffet.
Yeah, it's there every day. So it's we have a rotation of three, and we can easily extend it in the future. But and then next to the watermelon item on the buffet, there's a small like signage there that has like three or four
Yeah.
sentences about what it is. So it's giving the guests a small clue that this is it's a food waste initiative, right?
Yeah. I remember the first time I tried, I was actually there with Wojtek when he filmed that video with
Okay,
the rind. I tasted it as well, and I was like, wow.
it's shocking, isn't it?
How can it taste this good?
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, and even me at home now, like I'll save the watermelon rind and just use it as kind of like zucchini or any kind of
yeah,
veg. It really works.
yeah. You
Um,
can use it. You can use it as you would cucumber in some salads.
yeah.
I think
Um, well,
it is good.
yeah, no, amazing. I do want to try your version though. That's the thing about cooking, like you can take inspiration and then make it like your own. Which I think is
I think
really,
so.
really cool.
I think that's what cooking should be. And I think going back to fundamentals and everything, we should all learn the fundamentals, and then from there it's like music. You should be able to improvise and you
Yeah.
know go off on your own, right? And with inspirations here and there, right? So it's like the chefs have their own language about how we
Mm,
communicate and inspire each other, right?
yeah. No, it is amazing. Thank you. Thank you for those insights. And then the next question is, what are your ingredients for success? What do you think has gotten you to be executive chef at Conrad?
Ah, I well, it's I think there's many things to it. Um, there's I don't think there's one easy answer for everyone.
Yeah.
If I can capture um if I can reflect on the time that I spent trying to be a better chef, or
Hmm.
working the long hours and all of those things that we glorify, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, we've all kind of been through and cut our teeth and went through the grinder, right? Um, for me, if there's any kind of recipe for success, I'm going to repeat a sentiment from the great American chef Thomas Keller. I hope you know Thomas Keller from the French
Mhm.
Laundry and Per
Yeah.
Se. You know him, right? He's
Yeah.
yeah, he's a little bit of a he's still around, but his I think his restaurants were, and what Thomas Keller represented. It what it was about 20 years ago, I guess, around that time, the early 2000s. But it was also because it was so early in my career. He was a very fundamental person of interest to look up to. I never met him, but
Yeah.
he actually made a very interesting distinction, which I've only heard later in life, later in my career, but it kind of helped me understand and helped me um it put a lot of things in perspective and helped me understand what I went through as well. And I think I'm gonna repeat it now because I 100% believe it's the most important, one of the most important things.
Yeah.
And it is that passion. He said it in a shorter way, but I'm gonna say it a little bit longer. Passion is amazing. It's amazing. It's good to have passion. We, as chefs, we talk about passion all the time. But in order to succeed, I feel that we need to understand that passion is not as strong as desire.
Yeah.
Passion is fleeting and passion can change. You can be passionate about asparagus during the spring and then you're passionate about the butternut squash in the autumn, you know. But in for me, in order to get through the stages in life, stages in career, I
Yeah.
I looking back at what I went through, it was not passion that pushed me through. It was desire
Yeah.
to succeed, the
Mhm.
desire to exceed expectations, the
Yeah.
desire to do a good job is that really helped me to get through. And the amazing thing is the desire can be cultivated. It comes from within you. You can be the one to decide how much desire you have to achieve those goals. So
Mhm.
uh pa- desire is greater than passion. It's pretty much
Yeah.
a good
Mate.
recipe for success.
Yeah. So desire above passion, you're saying?
Yes,
No,
desire
that
is
that
stronger than passion.
yeah. And what is it that you most desire? What is your ultimate goal?
It's I think it's simple. I'm really a simple person, you know. And it really is just to make good food. And here's the other
Yeah.
thing. Here's the other thing. Maybe this is another recipe for success. And this is one I kind of made up in the last couple of years. And I kind of trying to translate this idea to my commis or my chef de parties when they're cooking.
Yeah.
The desire that I have to do good is like cook every dish like you're cooking for your sweetheart.
Oh, I love that.
Put as imagine your sweetheart or your mom. Imagine your mom made a booking at your restaurant. Oh my god, I'm so proud. My mom is coming
Oh,
here. And then she orders anything on the menu. Of
yeah.
course you're gonna look over this dish and make sure the plate is very clean and make sure the steak is perfectly medium. You should cook every dish like it's for your mom or for your sweetheart.
I actually love that advice. I remember that feeling when I was working as a chef. Like when my family were coming, I'd be like, okay, I need
Yeah.
to focus. This has to be the most amazing plate ever. Like I know it should be like that all the time, you're right, but there definitely was like that extra something when you know like your sweetheart or like your
Yeah.
family's coming.
I
Um
think it's a good way to keep us all on track. And I know 100% we're human. It's impossible to do it 100% of the time. But you know, like 90% of the time, why not? You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
have that approach. Like, oh, there's another there's another phrase. There's so many phrases and euphemisms and
yeah,
culinary phrases that circulate around. It's that you're only good as your last dish. I know you probably have heard that too, right? So that's pretty much almost a similar mantra to that. You know, make it doesn't matter how good the service was yesterday. This one right now in the now is the most important, right?
definitely. Amazing. You're filled with ingredients of success. You need to write a poster. I think you could have like a good what do you call it? Like when like a not affirmation wall, but like
Yeah.
wall of advice.
Yeah,
People can
yeah, I think or a tattoo, a neck tattoo, right, for the
yeah,
staff, for the kids nowadays, right?
exactly. Thanks, Ryan. Amazing advice. And to be fair, it's kind of the same, but what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? And who shared it with
Oh,
you?
um, I've mentioned some things that earlier in this conversation. I mentioned some advice that I've given.
Yeah,
I've also mentioned about the advice from Thomas Keller, but he never, I never met him. The
yeah,
one of the best advice, one of the best advice that I had early in my career was from uh the one of my chefs that I worked with when I was in Guam. I had worked with him, um, and at that time um, I had finished culinary school and I came back to Guam to work for a short time. So before I went to work, my first official job was in Tokyo. So I worked with this Japanese chef in Guam. I hope the story is not that confusing. Um,
Yeah,
and
I've just
after a few months working with him, before moving to Japan, he just told me, "Don't, Ryan-san, don't give up." So I thought it sounds very cliche, and it's like "don't give up" sounds it sounds like you hear it all the time, but
yeah,
for whatever reason, and it might have been just that timing or the way he said it or what, but it when you take that advice, don't give up. It sounds so simple, but it is really the crux of what keeps us
yeah,
to go. And I think it also helps to sharpen that desire. Like, don't give up, like you made
yeah,
it this far, don't give up. You made it as executive chef. There's still much more to learn,
yeah,
you are, no matter what level you are, there's always a ceiling that you can break through,
mhm,
no matter how you want to spin that word of advice. But for some reason, I've always remembered what he said, and
yeah,
I've kind of kept it as the driving force for me throughout my career.
yeah. No, you're right though. I think it's the way people say things sometimes. It kind of just sticks with you, like you can vividly remember it.
Yep. And I think for some whatever way, it must have been the timing was right, and the
Yeah.
sun, moon, and the stars aligned. When he said it. So
Amazing. What was he saying it for though? Like, was there something you were giving up on, or
no,
did
it
he?
was it's literally I was telling him, like, he already knew that I was moving on. And that was
Yeah,
like my last, shake the hand and a little bit of a
yeah.
bow. And I'm flying to Japan the next day. And he just said, "Don't give up."
Oh, it stuck with you till now. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that advice. And the next question is, what challenges have you faced in your journey, and how did you overcome them?
That you're not, well, there's a couple of challenges. What one is, I'm not normally very talkative. I don't know. Sometimes I tell people this story.
I think
Sometimes
you're
I
very
tell
positive.
Sometimes I know, right? But sometimes I tell people this story, and then, like, in when I was in school, like even high school, I was the shyest one, the
Yeah.
quietest one. I never raised my hand, even though I know the answer. I never raised my hand. Could not do public speaking at all. So, excuse me. So, coming and that's another thing, another aspect of what I do as a manager now, as a chef, as a leader, as a mentor, is I sometimes bring out this old story to some my executive sous chef or what. Because sometimes I tell them, "All right, tomorrow is the special dinner. I need you to be the one to introduce the menu." And they're like, "Oh, chef, I can't do it." Then
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, yes, you can, man, because I also couldn't do it. So
Yeah.
that I'm proof that public speaking is a learned skill. You can learn to be. I'm not saying I'm a good public speaker. I'm not saying I'm a
Yeah.
good orator or what, but from where I was, like, it's not a natural skill that I had. So
Mm,
being able to speak with people, being able to speak to the table in a restaurant, or to speak to a large group if you're having an event, that was very difficult for me in the beginning. But now I'm okay with being able to handle any anxiety, any pressure, any stress. I
yeah.
know, I know what to say and when to say it, but it's like a learned skill. But one of the key challenges that I've had along the way is learning how to manage people, and I think it is the things that most successful chefs might run into. I'm not saying I'm successful, but what I mean is, if you're a talented cook but you can't communicate with your team, or you can't train someone or you can't rub your passion off on somebody else, or you can't communicate the intricate recipe to somebody else, you will never make it. If you're not able to
Mm,
to manage people and to get your team on board, it's
yeah.
uh yeah, it's not easy, and it's also there's no real um cut and paste method. First, in order for people to follow you as a leader, you need to first do this one. No, it's like I think everyone needs to find their own way, and like maybe I have throughout the years. But learning how to work with the team and to make the team strong is
Yeah.
it's I think it's still a skill. I'm still working and improving on it, but that was not easy in the beginning, especially for me, not working in America, not working in Guam. So working in different countries where English is their second language, or different culture and different environment and everything. So this being able to filter through all of those obstacles and still be able to communicate with the team effectively, it's very difficult. It's very
Hmm.
difficult.
No, amazing. But how did you get over that kind of the anxiety and public speaking?
Um,
What is your advice for people that get nervous? Because I know I used to, I've definitely got better as well, but before at school as well, I was always the shy one. And I just know a lot of people out there are quite get nervous about this kind of thing.
I think embrace, like, it sucks, right? Embrace the suck. Like, just embrace it. Embrace the awkwardness and embrace it. And I think, um,
Yeah.
and I think the thing is, you understand that you're gonna go out there and you're gonna fail a few times before you start to really get on your feet. Don't. And I think it is just breaking out of your ego and breaking out of. I'm not saying don't care what other people think, but don't be afraid to fail. Also, don't
Yeah.
don't be afraid to look nervous, or don't be afraid to look awkward in the beginning, because you need to be able to go through those physically, and in order to get past it. And another thing too is watch some videos of some people who speak well and emulate their mannerisms, emulate the way that they speak, their body language, what they do with their hands and things. It's also, we have the internet at our fingertips the way that we never have had before, right? So not only getting over your personal challenges of dealing with your emotions and anxiety, but look to some examples of how you want to speak. Like, I want to speak a little bit more like this guy, or
Yeah.
I want to have the posture like this guy when he stands. So, like, I've watched a lot of TED talks. I've watched a lot of
Yeah.
there's yeah there's a competition that they have where they give out the world's greatest speaker. If you can go back and Google them. Amazing the way that these people are able to speak. And I feel like I would give myself a pretty decent score when it comes to public speaking. But we also had recently for Hilton, we had an F&B conference thing they do every year, and they gather all of the chefs in F&B in one area, in one property, and they have like these 3 or 4 day meetings, and um uh um, um like sessions for us to improve our skill and communicate. They brought on this one speaker from America. My gosh, his name is Chris. Amazing. Amazing speaker. Doesn't even no filler
I
for the
know.
like 30 minutes, speaking like he's an actor. It was amazing. For me, I don't even know what he spoke about. I was just like looking at the way he stood and like how he spoke. And then I got his contact, and we were still like we send each other messages every now and then. We still kind of keep in touch. But amazing. Like, look to, if you want to become a good public speaker, look to inspiration for how you can improve. I think is another good advice I can give.
Amazing. Yeah, my boss is the same now. Like, he's an amazing public speaker. And whenever I look at him, I'm like, wow, like how can I do that? Um, but yeah, I think it just takes practice, obviously, and I think he's teaching me to kind of throw myself into situations where you have to do it.
Yeah.
And then eventually it will just become kind of second nature.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a
Hannah, you
really
can do
important
it.
skill.
You can do this, Hannah.
Thank
Come
you.
on. It's easy. Come
Yes,
on.
I'll get there.
Yeah. I don't want to talk too long about this one, but what's easy for me, if we're talking about food or cooking, my God, I don't even need a script. There's
Yeah.
I can go on a lot of things, but if I have to memorize something, or if it's something I'm not comfortable with, then the anxiety will come back, right? But
No, I completely understand. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for that advice. I'm sure it will help some people out there who are struggling. But yes. A few more questions here.
Okay.
What would you say your proudest achievement is in reducing food waste?
Oh, I mean, we you mentioned we do have a big significant reduction here. And I don't want to always sing the accolades of what we accomplished here.
Yeah.
Um, but it it has been so far very positive. I mean, we talk about the watermelon peel, and we talk about some of the metrics from
Mhm.
our consumption since last year in July. There's been a tremendous reduction. But if I can say what would be the biggest achievement in terms of food waste, um, I think it would be um, when we're able to incorporate some of our initiatives in and weave them together with promotions that add value for our culinary offerings, but it also inspires our guests and piques their interests and makes them a little bit more interested in our food and our program here. Now, moving along from the watermelon skin, we
Yeah.
also started a promotion on our poolside, and we're just finishing up a hot dog promotion. So we have like these 6 hot dogs which are available with different flavors inside of it, and
Yeah.
each one emulates a different region. They're all made using charcoal from leftover coffee from our breakfast buffet.
Oh, wow. That's
So
amazing.
yeah, thank you. We collect the coffee pods, all of the ground coffee,
Yeah.
and we keep them in a big bin before they get moldy. Every week we
Mhm.
turn them out from the bin, we let them dry out, and then we have a recipe. It's a secret recipe. I can't tell you the whole recipe here, but there's a little bit of starch that we add to it. There's a little bit of calcium lime that we add to it, and
Mm.
then we make them into cakes. We make them into we mix a little bit of water so they become malleable and pliable like
Yeah.
Play-Doh. So we shape them into cakes and then we dry them. We can dry them outside, but we also dry them in our combi oven. And then we use those coffee pucks as fuel for the grill.
That's crazy.
And and guests find this really interesting, and I feel it is interesting. It's very cool for us. I the
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you don't really get like a roasted coffee smell on the food. You don't.
That's
It's
what
not
I
like
was
you
gonna
can pick.
ask. Do you get that flavor?
We don't, but we're changing to a burger promotion next. But taking a cue from what a lot of guests said, I'm thinking to make like a coffee charcoal oil, which we kind of brush on the
Yeah.
burgers after, just to give it a bit of a coffee
Really
twinge. You know what I mean?
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but we've launched this promotion, and it's made proudly with the charcoal which we make in operation, and guests find that super cool. So
Yeah, I
so
found
for
it I
me,
find it amazing, like, this is crazy. How did you
yeah.
even, like, come up with that idea, though?
It's not an original idea. When I was working in Bali, there was somebody that used to come to because I was working there as like a consultant. I wasn't working there for a hotel, but we had one of these guys on the motorbike come by and buy our old coffee grinds from us. Like, not buy,
Yeah,
sorry. He would ask if he can just take them because
yeah.
we're just throwing them away. And then he was like taking it for 2 weeks, but my team didn't tell me what he was doing, right? So finally one day I said, like, what is this guy coming and taking the coffee for? And then they said, oh, we don't know. He's just coming to take the coffee. And this guy, he's like from Bali, right? He doesn't like he's
Yeah.
from Bali, doesn't even speak much English. So then my team like spoke. I said, can you just ask him what it's for? So then we dig in a bit further, and then we find out that they're using it to make charcoal.
That's crazy.
So can you imagine also the entrepreneur from whoever's we didn't find out who's actually making it. But can you imagine the entrepreneur that's we're just throwing in all of this
Yeah, it's your
potential
way.
fuel, and he's just making this biodegradable or sustainable coffee
That's
charcoal
fantastic.
and selling it again, right? So it's like I always kept it in the back of my mind is like I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that in like I'm gonna steal people's trash
Yeah.
and make charcoal. I mean, I'm gonna make our own coffee charcoal one day, and we did it. We did it since last year.
That's so cool. I've never heard of that. And, yeah, that's an amazing business model for that guy that was taking your rubbish, turning it
Isn't it
into
right?
fuel.
It's clever, right? He's the only guy in Bali driving like a Ferrari, right? That's that guy.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. Was it quite a lot of testing, though? to get it to work, or
We don't know what that in Bali. Going back to Bali, we don't know what his formula was.
yeah.
So we set out for us to do it here, and we went to like 3 recipes before we really locked it on the right one. And there pretty much is no cost. There's a little bit of starch you need to bind it together, but you
Mhm.
can use a tapioca starch, which is very cheap here.
Yeah.
And then you need a little bit of the calcium, the lime powder, um, and that's it.
Wow.
There's a certain ratio. It's not really so much of a secret recipe or anything, but
All coming out now. The whole
I
recipe.
know now everyone's gonna do it, right? But the shaping that we do is quite interesting. We are able to shape it into like logs. We use like a tube.
Yeah.
We're actually doing in the what's month is it now? November. We're doing a management what's it? A management activity where we're all gonna make that batch of coffee charcoal together in November.
That's amazing. I wanna come over just to see this in action, like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
gonna be fun.
amazed. I can't believe it. But yeah, no, that's definitely something to be proud of. And it must be, like, saving you money as well from on charcoal, like, you don't have to pay for
Oh yeah,
charcoal, or, like, just
tremendously, tremendously.
savings
But
savings
yeah,
everywhere.
but more so, it's like we if we just do the barbecue promotion with the hot dog and the burger, yeah, we get a little bit of interest. But when you add that sustainable idea inside, it just makes it like 10 times more interesting, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
People love the story behind things, and I feel like that's
exactly, exactly.
amazing, amazing story. But yes, thank you. Last few questions.
Okay,
But what would you say the most important tip you give to chefs aiming to reduce food waste is?
is to man, if I ever had to, I'm gonna give you the easier. If not a tip, I would recommend every chef to do this.
Yeah,
There's 2 versions. I don't know if you want to publish both versions, but one is you should slaughter your own meat one day, you know,
yeah,
and understand like let's say you're processing a whole pig. You
yeah,
slaughter that thing from beginning to end, and then what kind of appreciation you're gonna get for the trotter, the tail, the face, like every part of
yeah.
of the pig, right? It's an invaluable education. I don't think, okay, let's be honest, it's not for everybody, right? But for me, going through those processes as a younger kid in my household on Guam, or as a chef later, I slaughtered pig for roasting when I was in Bali. My gosh, you don't know this animal, right? But when you go through that process, it feels like you know this animal, right? And you want to do the best service for make
Yeah.
this the most delicious roast pork ever, right? And it can
Mhm.
be the same for chefs. Grow your own salad and make a salad from it. And how much care are you going to put in making sure that salad is delicious, right? Or
Mhm.
nothing goes to waste, you know? Or grow your own carrots. And you tell me if you're okay with overcooking. You're not going to put attention into the carrots and you overcook it and you throw it away. Let's just get a new one. No, it's different, right? Because you went through that. You know how much it takes to produce these things, right? So if
Definitely.
I had to give any tip for anyone, understand how much it takes for even a carrot to reach your plate, and then let's talk about how much food you want to waste after that.
Mhm. Definitely. I felt if you've actually grown the carrot, you would not waste a single thing
I'll
of
eat it
that.
with the skin on. you know.
Yeah, especially the skin, the
Yeah.
carrot top as well. Um, yeah, definitely. I really like that advice. I've never slaughtered a pig, but
It's not
maybe
for
I'll.
everyone.
I don't know how I'd feel about that, but maybe I'll have to give it a go.
Yeah, try if the pig is not your vibe, then maybe try the carrot. It's maybe
Yeah, I'll try the carrot instead.
yeah.
But yeah, thanks for that advice. And then last question here. Are there any books, podcasts, apps, or shows that you would
Wow.
recommend for chefs to
Yes.
grow and be
Yes, I will.
inspired?
I peeked at Chef Marco's answers, man. I'm Chef Steps and Fallow I
Yeah,
follow also. So I'm not gonna repeat anything that he mentioned. But from what Chef Marco mentioned in the previous interview, the previous podcast, I definitely
yeah,
agree. Fallow and Chef
yeah.
Steps. amazing resource.
know.
Modernist cuisine, amazing resource, right? But
Yeah.
if let's look at it from the other perspective. Going back to the foundations of cooking,
Hmm.
I highly recommend, if you have not read it before, is On Food and Cooking by Harold McGee. You know this book?
I haven't read that one actually. What's it called? On
On Food and Cooking
Food and Cooking. I'm Googling it now.
by Harold McGee.
There we go.
McGee.
I've got it. There is something I haven't read actually.
I think it's not the most exciting book. There's like some pictures inside of like plant cells and stuff like this. It's not like it's there's serious information in there, and I think I probably read through this book at least twice, or at least I read the
Really,
whole thing cover to cover, and I've referenced it time and time again, right, to look at some things. But it truly opens up the understanding for what food is and how and why food is, right? To give a lot of young chefs that basic understanding. When I was in the CIA, this was required for everyone to read this book.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. The other book I would recommend is my, and this is just a selfish plug for me. This was what got me into being a chef. This is the Making of a Chef by Michael Ruhlman.
Hmm.
It's just one person's perspective of what it's like to earn your education at the Culinary Institute of America.
Hmm.
It's it's
Amazing. I'm
it, it's
looking
the
at them
reason
all
why
now.
it's the reason why I'm sitting here before you, pretty much.
Really amazing. I'm looking at the
And
yeah, no, so go ahead.
um for uh any videos to watch or podcasts, Jules cooking on YouTube is amazing reference.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love those
I
videos.
I think he has the best recipes on the internet. Honestly, the best recipes on the internet. Probably,
That's a
um,
big statement.
honestly,
There's so
I've
many
tried a lot of his
recipes.
recipes, and he's like, I understand, like, he has the Michelin background, but all of his recipes, if I ever had to meet Jules in person, mwah, the best. You have the best recipes, honestly. Um, but
Yeah.
with that, yeah, he has really good recipes. There is also um this one you might have to use the time machine to check the archive machine. It's called cookingissues.com with Dave Arnold. I don't know if you know Dave Arnold. Dave Arnold is one of those culinarians who came with that scientific perspective. But Cooking Issues is no longer it's no longer posted, but there's
Really
volumes of blogs about how to use sous vide or how to use rotary evaporator and all this. It's amazing information in there.
I'm looking
Truly
at
an
it.
amazing resource.
Amazing. You've given so many suggestions.
If I can give two more, one more is Ideas in Food.
Yeah.
Ideas in Food is an amazing. They've also come out with books like 15 years ago, but I've been following them since like 2000. Ideas in Food, which is a blog post. And the last one, my gosh, I didn't realize there's so many internet searches I want to share. Is if you want, and this is for everyone who wants to really seriously improve your barbecue meat game.
Yep.
If you want to become the best person to handle the pit, to make a slow roasted beef brisket, to make the most amazing traditional rub for like ribs or barbecue sauce or whatever, you need to go to amazingribs.com.
AmazingRivers.com. I
Yeah,
haven't heard of this.
it
Very
sounds,
straightforward name.
yeah,
AmazingRibs.com.
yeah, is from a pitmaster, and he also goes on this like scientific explanation about cooking of the meats and all of these things and brining percentages and solutions. But like you can go in there and like source recipes for ribs or whatever, and it's like it's amazing.
Um,
Amazing recipes in there.
this looks amazing. You've given, yeah, like I said, amazing suggestions.
I don't know why I let all my secrets out. I have no more secrets now.
You've let it all out for pass it on.
Yeah.
So
They're
that's what we're here for. We've
yeah,
named it pass it on because I hope to kind of pass on all this knowledge to the
yeah.
world, basically, the hospitality world.
If I could give one more, but it's like a paid one. It used to be free, but now it's paid. Is foodpairing.com.
Yeah.
Foodpairing.com is an amazing resource.
Mhm.
Whenever I'm making a dish, it's like if you're a writer and you can't really finish that last chapter,
Yeah.
I use foodpairing.com to give you those one or two things that might complement an arrangement that you're making.
Yeah.
It's an amazing resource for me to finish off some ideas to strengthen a dish that I already have.
That's amazing. I didn't know that existed either.
You not use foodpairing.com?
I haven't, no. Referring.com.
Foodpairing.com, I think it's behind a paywall now. It used to be free, but what it does is like you pick an ingredient and it gives you a comparable list of ingredients that have a similar aroma profile to what you've chosen. So let's say
Yeah.
you've chosen tomato. It's going to give you all kinds of ingredients that will pair well with tomato.
I think there's a book like that. Was it called The
There
Flavor?
is Flavor Bible, the
Yeah,
Flavor
the
Bible,
Flavor
yeah.
Bug. That's the one that I've used. I haven't used the
Uh,
online. It's
this
kind of
one is
similar.
very similar to, but this, if I'm not wrong, the foodpairing.com website, it used a different science when it comes to the pairing. They put all of the ingredients on a spectrum analysis and you get all of the aroma profile and it just matches things that are similar. So
Wow.
it's a way to see which foods go together. And the funny thing is when you look at it, you'll see that tomato, basil, parmesan, like they go well together. You know what I mean? And it's like it already exists as a very common combination, and it probably has for a reason, because it goes together so well because of they share the aroma profile is very similar.
Does that feel like the science behind does it go into the science behind it
Yes,
or like
exactly. Yeah,
the
and
chemicals
yeah,
that make work together? That's really interesting.
exactly, and it's kind of on the same research done by Hesam Blumenthal at the Fat Duck. So it's kind of
Yeah.
it's stretched from what he explored also
Yeah.
earlier in his career.
Wow. Honestly, I'm gonna have to buy all those books and I know what I'm doing tonight, like reading all of those. They sound amazing. Um, but yeah, that concludes all the questions I had for you.
Okay,
Thank thank you so much for all your insights. Honestly, it was amazing. I really enjoyed talking to you. And
thank you.
I don't know if you had any more questions.
No,
Questions
no,
for
no,
me.
thanks. And you know
Um,
what? And you know what? It's just I'm from Guam. Guam is a very small place. There's only
mhm.
170,000 people in there. It's a small, super small place. So it's for me. I'm not gonna say like I'm not supposed to be here, right? But there's not many people from Guam that have had yet to be bestowed the executive chef and a 5-star property internationally. I'm sure there's many that's going to follow. But for me, super humble, super happy that you've actually chosen to speak with me, and I'm happy to share my experience, and if anything that I've said or offered as advice or resource can help somebody else or inspire, then truly grateful for that.
Amazing. No, I'm sure you've given so much advice. It's going to be inspiring the whole world, to be honest.
Very good.
But yes, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Hannah.